everyone, it's Gabi from the Kia Hyundai channel, and today I have a really fun vehicle and a fun new location. So we're at our Brantford Hyundai dealership filming the 2024 Hyundai Elantra N. Now this vehicle, it's not your regular Elantra. This is track ready, it's a corner rascal, and it puts a smile on your face. We're going to talk about everything that makes this model different from the previous year and just things we love about it. So first up, let's talk about the powertrain. And I will point out this car is pretty dirty because the customer requested that we don't take any of the stickers off. So what you see is what you get from factory, that is. So let's take a look. Under the hood is a 2-liter flat power, which pretty much just means inline 4-cylinder gasoline engine. 276 horsepower brought to you by this powertrain with 289 pound-feet of torque. Now when we hop inside, there's a fun little button on your steering wheel that is, no, it's not NOS, but it gives you a 10 extra horsepower boost for 10 seconds. All right, so now we got the engine out of the way, let's talk about the transmission. There's actually 2 options here in Canada. The entry level is going to give you a 6-speed manual transmission with rev matching, but for an extra $1,000, you can get our 8-speed wet type dual clutch transmission with paddle shifters and that not NOS, but N-grin shift button that I mentioned earlier. So powertrain, top notch, but there's a lot more to this vehicle that meets the eye. We'll talk a little bit about styling because that's where the changes are from the previous year. So for your headlight, you still get full LEDs, beautiful, bold, striking daytime running lights, which a lot of people kind of get the perception that it translates all across the horizon of this front bumper, but it doesn't. That's just a piece of metal. So it looks good, lots of clean lines. One of my favorite minor things that this vehicle has underwent to change it up was actually the emblem. So as you can see, it looks like it's pressed into the vehicle itself. It's completely flat, low profile, and if you can put down your can of plastidip, it's already blacked out for you guys. So it looks really good, everything's cohesive, and even though there's a lot of mixed elements in this car, it looks really, really nice. A lot of clean lines, horizontally running and vertically opposed, a meaner look, much more narrow and much more wider. And while the actual dimensions of the vehicle haven't changed much, just based off the front profile, it looks really different. So it means business, it's definitely a bit more handsome, and it's giving the competitors a run for its money. Down at the very bottom, we have that signature red lip with a little vertical right in the very center, which again, kind of catches your eye. This vehicle turns heads and it turns corners really well and really quickly. All right. On the right side, I'm just going to have Charlotte zoom in a little bit. We have our distinct N badging, which really separates the Elantra N from anything else in our lineup, really.
But what does it stand for?
N, well, it stands for 2 different things. Number 1 is Namyang, which is a region in Korea where this vehicle's research and design center is. But it's not just this vehicle, it's actually Hyundai's whole N division. So that is their performance cars. We get the Kona N, the Elantra N, the Veloster N, the Ioniq 5N, and there's a bunch more to come. So stay tuned, don't worry, we've done a video on all those vehicles that I mentioned too if you want to see more. Oh, it also stands for the Nürburgring in Germany, which is the iconic racetrack where this vehicle was tested and true. It doesn't just look good, it drives good, it's a ton of fun, and there's a bunch of track-ready features inside that Charlotte will mention in just a few minutes. Let's work our way over to the side. I'm really excited to talk about the wheels on this car because they're forged, and they're 19-inch alloys. So let's take a look. You can kind of see we have a 5-spoke design, but it's dual, so dual spokes, 5-spoke, but dual portions, much more wider, so you get a better look at that Hyundai N branded red brake caliper. You get a ton of brake force with this vehicle. It is front-wheel drive, so all that power is going to these front wheels here. It's important to have strong, ready brakes with a car like this. When it comes to our tires, we get performance ones, so same as last year, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. So these are summer tires. If you are driving this vehicle all throughout the year and you live in Canada, you absolutely must get winter tires. Must. Okay, now that that's over, we'll continue on the look. As you can see, that red lip moves its way onto the door side molding. And again, this car is really dirty and I apologize for that, but just pretend it's clean and like this video if we're doing okay so far. When it comes to our mirrors, we get a mix of this lovely shiny black and then our body color, or I should say plastic. It blends in with the body color of this car though, with the turn signal indicator. If you're curious about this color spec, it is Ecotronic Gray, and as of today, I didn't see it on Hyundai Canada's website, but it exists because it's here. More on that later, I guess. Now, also when it comes to performance and price point, the entry-level Hyundai Elantra N is $39,999 Canadian, and that is for the 6-speed manual with rev matching. If you get the 6-speed manual, you're not going to get that N-grin shift button, but you will get, like I said, rev matching and a manual car. It's really hard to find a brand new manual performance sedan these days. They're dying out. But if you spend an additional $1,000, so $49.99, you're gonna get our 8-speed wet type dual clutch transmission like I'm showing you here today, and Charlotte will show you what that looks like inside. And then with that, you do get that N grin shift power boost. A couple more things I wanna talk about before we hop inside though. You get an E limited slip differential, so electronically controlled. You also get electronically controlled suspension, so turning corners in this vehicle, an absolute beast. So the E-limited slip differential, it never gets easier to say. It's gonna essentially drive more torque to those wheels, allowing you to turn corners better, more control, and then we have increased body rigidity. So when it comes to the Elantra, a lot of people hear the term Elantra and think sports car. My mom drives that. No, this one's completely different. So you get, I believe it's 29% more body rigidity than our previous Elantras. Let's open up our lift. You're not buying this vehicle for cargo space either, but come take a look at what's inside. So we do have our bold red brace. So again, giving that body rigidity, that ample cornerings. Oh, sorry.
There's still pull tabs here, so don't worry, you can still put down your seats.
Yes, that ample cornering versatility and just making this vehicle, I want to say, a track weapon. When it comes to our spoilers, same as last year, we still have Elantra boldly written across the rear end of the vehicle, but this time it's blacked out just like our front emblem. And if you ask me, I prefer that. I think it looks phenomenal. LED taillights, rear parking sensors. I really like the placement of them because it hides quite nicely. And this is that, again, almost unpainted, but I want to call it flat black finish. Along the bottom, we have these huge big bore exhaust tips. And if you're comparing this vehicle to, let's say, the Type R, the GR Corolla, this is so much better, you guys. The stock sound coming from this vehicle is phenomenal. I hope we can include a voice, not a voice clip, but an exhaust clip. It's up to us if our filming skills are really that good. Beautiful sound, it snaps, it crackles, it pops, and you do have active exhaust as well too. So if you want a quieter drive, put this car in eco if you want, and you can have it toned down a little bit. When it comes to the interior, Charlotte will mention that we do have an active sound design inside, so emitting a little bit of artificial noise, but don't worry guys, it's not all fake. It actually sounds really good just with its stock. All right, that's about it. Last thing I'll point out, a lot of people ask about this, it's just a reflector light. It is not an additional brake light. But let's take a look inside, you guys.
Oh, what are you doing here? Oh, just kidding. That's right, we're talking about what's new on the interior for the 2024 Hyundai Elantra N. And believe me, there are some big changes. That's right, we've got USB-C ports. So that's really gonna be the huge improvement for the interior of the cabin. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video on your full in-depth walkthrough of the exterior and interior. No, I'm just kidding. There actually are some differences even if it doesn't look like it. And a lot of them are actually going to be more mechanical. So when it comes to steering, that's going to be one of our changes. Our steering wheel, although it is wrapped in plastic as per customer request, it's generally going to look the same, but what's behind it, no, not the screen, is going to be what's different. So some of the steering improvements that they have changed is they have reduced friction on the U-joint, again, just to give you a better handling and more dynamic driving experience. Also, some of the other items that they have done is the power steering motor, and then also the gearbox yoke response, basically. So that's gonna, adjusting for the yaw that the vehicle does have. Hyundai has said that they've done. They haven't really given too many specifics on it, though, like they have with some of the other items. But you know that this vehicle is designed to give you the best handling and the best dynamic driving experience. And a lot of it has to do with the suspension, the steering. You can't get any better than this, guys, especially for the price point. Now, when it comes to some of the other premium features we have, is Gabi mentioned that you do have the option to change your exhaust note, at least on the interior, and that is all going to come through our premium sound system, which is a Bose premium sound system, and you have 8 speakers in the vehicle, 2 on the front doors. You're going to have 1 on each door. You're gonna have 1 here in the center, and that's right, you have a sub in the back too. So you're gonna get great sound, whether it be the exhaust note coming through or just your regular tunes. Now I'm actually gonna take the take the wheel. I'm gonna take the camera from Gabi to better show you guys some of the stuff, because again, it is wrapped up in plastic. Here's your steering wheel. We do have a black Hyundai emblem there, and paddle shifters for your 8-speed wet DCT in the back. Now, obviously we have tons of fun buttons here with our N mode, our drive mode, N mode, and N grin shift. Now, if you do have the manual transmission, this is going to read rev, and that's going to be for your rev matching. But if you were thinking, Charlotte, the only thing that can make this vehicle any better would be the addition of 10 extra ponies, well, there you go. You got a whole horse farm in this bad boy. So here's also a look at your screen, and right now it's just set for your regular drive modes. So you can see that you can actually cycle through them here, but the magic starts when I press this button, because that's going to put me into N mode. And from here, it's going to pull up some different specs such as oil temperature, engine temperature, and look at these, the actual tachometer that you're seeing with your digital speedometer in the center, and then also the gears. So tons of different items that are going to be shown here for that more fun and sporty performance driving. And then of course, hit this button. No conditions are not met. I know that because we are in park and inside. But again, that's going to give you that super fun power boost, basically an overdrive button for the vehicle. And let's take a look at the other screen that we have here. Now these are relatively unchanged. It's both 10.25-inch screens, so the smaller screen size. And here is your N menu. And again, similar to what we see on the Ioniq 5N, is it's going to give you the throttle. Well, obviously you don't see that in the Ioniq 5N, but it is going to give you percentage for throttle and also for brake press. So that's really cool. You can see the amount of force and pressure that you are putting into it. You got your lap timer, you got your circuit, you got your amount of G's, everything along those lines. And then over here is when you're able to customize it. And that's where you're going to be able to use this button to set your custom N modes. So from here, you can change the engine, the steering, suspension, transmission, the exhaust sound, as Gabby mentioned, your stability control, and that limited slip differential, as Gabby mentioned. Now, for the suspension on this vehicle, is one of the changes that we are seeing is going to be the bushings. Instead of them just being a regular suspension mount, like rubber bushing, they are going to be that polyurethane type material. So that's going to be a little bit of a difference for you. Again, just a design for more dynamic driving. Now, you probably noticed that we had a ton of areas in the front for active cooling to keep this vehicle nice and cool. That way you can have it at optimal performance. But that's right, guys. It's got climate control. So you're getting cooling on the interior too. And you actually have dual zone climate control. Still same great comfort features, even though this is a performance vehicle, like heated seats for circulated air, everything along those lines. And there's that rascal USB port. This is a Cornell Rascal. It's also a USB-C Rascal. That's right. Unmatched performance from the USB-C. 12-volt wireless phone charger. And you can't really tell, and I'm not going to remove the plastic, but you can see on our gear shift is you have N badging. Now, if you are getting the manual, this is obviously going to be a manual transmission. And you do not obviously get the N badging with that too. You have all of your cameras, parking sensors. And again, I know that you're not getting this vehicle for the safety features, but with the ground clearance on this thing, it is nice to have those sensors and also the rear view camera. So it's great to see what may be creeping up on you as you are creeping around the track. Just kidding. You're flying around the track. Cup holders, peasant blocker, the peasant in question. Just kidding. And let's take a look at those seats. So again, it's going to be difficult because we do have this covered in plastic, but we have the illuminated N badging on your seat. And Gabby, is this a sport style bucket?
Yes, so these seats, a lot of people get into the Elantra and they're like, it's so rigid. Guys, it's all about rigidity in this car.
That's the point.
But when it comes to the seats, obviously they're bucket seats. They're not the most comfortable ones. They're not massaging seats. They're not, Napa leather. They hold you in, and they hold you in good. You can't really tell now because of the wrapping that's on it, but there is a nice suede mix in the very center, so that's exceptionally going to hold you in very nicely. And we do have a little bit of leatherette siding as well too, so sticky to your butt in a good way. And also, there's no ventilation in these seats, and they are manual, but let me tell you, the suede definitely helps in hot summers because it doesn't get as hot as a leatherette or leather mix. So I like it. I really like it.
As far as what else that we have here, obviously your rear view mirror, we have a black headliner and also a sunroof. But let's talk about seating. And no, not the fact that I am dressed like the plastic covering on these seats. Now, of course, it's going to be a little bit harder to show, but when it comes to our actual seating in this vehicle for the driver and passenger, you have a super comfortable sport style bucket seat.
Comfortable and bucket seat?
That's right. And you know why it's comfortable? Because it's actually a mix of materials. So no, it's not going to be super luxurious. It's not going to be Napa leather because this is a more performance, a fun car, and we are all about that weight reduction, baby. But because of the materials that this vehicle, or that these seats are made up of, it's still giving you the option for some comfort with that suede insert, which is also going to hold you in. Now, it's not ventilated, it is heated, but again, having that insert there is really going to keep you cool in the summer. It doesn't get as hot as the leather, and you still have those premium touches like the blue stitching, but also that nice leather. Also, if you haven't noticed, we have an illuminated N logo, which you actually can see through the plastic, thankfully. And although these are manual seats, it's a set it and forget it, and trust me, when you're driving this vehicle, you're not going to be thinking about your seats. You're just going to be loving and enjoying the experience with an absolute grin on your face. Now, the back seat, on the other hand, that was so graceful, I know. You have dual USB-C ports back here. Obviously, you could tell that this is a 5-seater configuration, and headroom definitely could be improved, but let's be real, if you're sitting back here and you're doing the launch control, you're going to be like this anyway, so you don't even need to use this headroom. But you guys probably heard me talk about launch control. What is that, Gabby?
So you actually will utilize launch control to get the top 0 to 100 speed on this car, which is rated at 5.3 seconds for 0 to 100 by Hyundai Canada. Over here in your N menu, you can activate it, and you can actually set the exact RPM meter you'd like the vehicle to go to. It's going to say conditions not met because, well, the car isn't actually on. Just the
so you can't do it when you're in park?
No, absolutely not. And essentially, you guys know launch control works. Pedal to the metal on both the gas and the brake, let it rip, and you're off. You can set the RPM customization though, so that's actually quite cool, and it does have a slight cool down period. There's even a shift light, so while your tachometer is in the N mode, you can actually get an illumination as to when it's the best time to shift, or if you want to do a poorly timed gear shift, well, there's no excuse because the car told you when. There's also N power shift, so you can check that out. And all these things you can activate, deactivate, switch the car into eco mode, switch into sport, and it changes the car drastically.
So not only is this a more affordable sports car, but you can actually absolutely completely customize it to what it is that you want to drive and how you want to drive this vehicle, which makes it the most fun. Now, I'm sure the first mod you're going to want to do is removing all of the plastic. So this really is how it comes from factory. So I guess we're all driving tuned vehicles. It's fine. Well, this is our real outro for this vehicle, but I hope you guys enjoyed this first little look at the 2024 Hyundai Elantra N and some of the changes that were made. Now, we do have another one incoming, so we are going to be doing a full and complete in-depth review, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this first look and all of the features that make the N so special. If you guys haven't already, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the Kia Hyundai channel to see more Elantra N content, or Hyundai content, or Elantra content in general, and leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see next. We'll see you next time. Bye.